What's up everyone, Speedy here. In this 2v2 video, we're going to be doing 2 live games and 1 replay review, so let's get right into it. Okay, here we are in game number 1. Awkward on takeoff, so I'm just going to hop up in the air. Second man does not go. I'm going to rotate myself back. Oh, got myself a little hezzy there. Need to be careful. Teammate's going to rotate back. That's okay. It's probably the worst touch I could have made, but okay. Homie was trying really hard for the bump there. That's okay. Teammate's got my back there. I'll rotate myself and just kind of put myself a little bit forward here. Wait for that touch. I can't really commit too hard here, so I'm just going to play this back. We got a little hezzy there. That's okay. Okay, I wanted to pass it to teammate and give teammate possession, not for teammate to, yeah, that. Unfortunate. Okay. Realistically, I probably could have advantage is tape play for the control touch and been totally fine. Both players miss. Miss the 50. I'm going to grab that boost. He should be rotating in. He has a free 1v1. No! That's so unfortunate. Teammate is 0 boost on recovery, so I'm just going to play this back. I'm not even going to risk it. It's a decent touch. Watch for the bump play. Need to be careful about that, especially if he's going to challenge that next time. It's the second time. Could have been more dangerous. Boom that out of our net. Can't really do more than that. I've done what I can to cover the play. Just maintain fluidity of rotations in a situation like this, even if it doesn't lead to anything direct. Nice. Well played by teammate. Good job on the bump. And there it was important that I went for a catch. If I went for a boom, I would have put myself in a worse spot, and I wouldn't have had an opportunity for a potential shot. Like, getting control there, especially with how wide first man was on the aerial challenge. There, flip it right. If he wants to push up, that's okay. Try to play back. Try to play it safe. End up booming the ball. That's my fault. Really shitty touch. I need to not be going for that. Good pressure there. Can't really commit. Try to watch for the bomb. Good coverage. Rotate myself into a good spot. And I need to play a little less up here. And just get a free goal. Nice. There, that's everyone's playing boomer ball, so it's real common in these ranks, or really most ranks, is for people just to go for quick touches and boom touches without getting control touch when you have space. When you have space, get a control touch. It's a lot better than going for the boom touch. When you don't have space, it's better to either go for 50-50 or clear. Ooh, what a shot, dude. Low boost shot. Nice little wall play and a boop. I will take it. I'm telling you, man, this car has really been building my confidence. I've been doing some good practice with my power shooting and just basic shots. And it feels like it's really connecting, honestly. I'm kind of getting back to my roots and just basic play. It feels like, honestly, it's a great feeling. I can't really commit there, so just play it slow. Teammate's still up as well. Can't commit there, have to play back. There, plays for the 50. Teammate's kind of turned in a way that I can't really safely commit. Teammate goes for the foot touch there. Once I get a second touch, I'm going to stay back here, try to make sure I'm facing the right way. It's not a passable angle. There, giving the teammate a clear and open play. You see how by putting the ball into the open space that I was able to find the gap? Oh, nice shot. You see that whole play, that none of that play would have happened if I didn't put my teammate into a position. I didn't put the ball in a position where the teammate could follow up with that. And that's an awareness thing. What you want to do is you want to look for the gap. So something in Rainbow Six Siege, for example, is a concept in like pro play and comp play is called finding the gap. And you want to start finding the gap in some of the plays. And the gap essentially is where there's open space that nothing's happened yet, and you can push into that. And that's something that's really important. Now we're opponents this time. I'm gonna grab boost. Use my momentum, grab that boost, get myself back. I don't have a play beyond this, so I'm just going to grab boost, get myself into a good spot. Teammate push themselves up into a really bad spot. I can't do anything more. The best shot, honestly. I could have played that better. This teammate falls up. There, just make my play and get out. You know, if it's a situation where if I can't get my shot exactly on target and it doesn't work out, just rotate out, make your play, and get out. Don't try to hang around if you don't have to. Nice, that's a really good cheat up by a teammate there. Well done. There, just stay grounded. I can't do anything here with this play. Plus, he's facing the play, so. There we go. Okay. I messed that up a little bit, but I wanted to make sure I give myself time to control it instead of trying to flip it away. You see, instead of flipping it away, I just kept all my touches really small. That's why that worked. Soft cheat this time. Nice. Well done by teammate. Really poor play, honestly. I didn't need to boom touch that, especially, or at least like get that much separation. Nice. Hit both those boosts. That was really well played.
Dude, he bumped me into the save. And that just goes in, bro. Oh my god. That's actually fucking hilarious.
Ooh, that was bad. Okay, inadvertently cut my teammate off. Oops. Better that I play back. Flip forward, get myself into the play. Nice dash. It's in position where we can follow up with that. This time, I can't follow that. Ooh, that's my fault. That's a bad touch. I made that awkward for teammate. Don't have to go there. Teammate's going for that space. Good flick, gets the beat on one. I can't go there. Oh, that was such a bad misflip. Oops. I have a really good lead here, so I'm just gonna play it safe here. There, get the bump there. That's gonna give teammate a little bit more space to work with. Put myself in a good spot. Nice, get the clear. Get the crazy good touch. Dude, I actually had a really good play there. I just couldn't do anything more with it. Place for the 50. Nice, I'm playing really, really well this game. Oh, I had no reason to go there. I got greedy there. Stop thinking. I have to remember, like, teammate's not going to know I want to go for that, you know? Quick cut off by teammate. Just take time. I'm going to rotate myself back, put myself in a good spot. They got 20 seconds. They still have to go. They have to get 2 goals, so it's going to be hard for them to be able to hold that back. He goes for the flick. And there's no reason for me to go here. Look for the win. Just play smart. That's GG. Nicely done. Another good game right there. Well played. Okay, here we are in the replay portion of the video, and so once again we are doing a community replay review, and with Sixpo here. And so one of the things we're going to go over is just overall movement, overall things to work on, and kind of build on certain habits, and just things for us to kind of build from, so that way he's got some plans to get improvement. So kind of going back to the beginning, I actually really don't mind the way he played this attack play here. Teammate gets awkward there on the miss, and so here he kind of stays here. I don't mind he goes for the flip. What I would have recommended, if you want to be able to stay with this better and have a better chance at actually getting to the opposite mid boost and then have free space for an aerial play, is watch how you flipped here. So you go for the setup here. Do you see how you front flipped? Instead of a front flip where you're going like this, try to side flip. Try like a true side flip where you just kind of pop it left and then stay with it, land square, and then set yourself up for a nice basic aerial play, or wall to air play. That would have actually set you up really well. So that's just a better mechanical option. Bit of a misjudgment there in terms of using front flip, but it's a really difficult angle, and I like the vision that you have there. I actually really like that. So I would say what you want to do is just a side flip there. That's going to give you a little bit better directionality as well, because think of it from like a recovery standpoint, right? As I smack my mic. So your recovery time from a front flip is generally going to be pretty slow. But if you're doing a side flip, you're also, for the most part of the actual side flip, you're going to be facing the general direction of like where you want to actually play into. And a front flip, you're going to be facing toward and totally away 180 degrees and back towards. And that entire 1 to 2 second gap of time, that's enough time for you to not be able to fall through and get control. So just try to consider a side flip there. Again, it's more of a mechanical thing, but just something to work on. You want to be careful about overextending yourself as second man. So you see that your teammate's first man. Look how much you're pushing yourself into the play when your teammate has 0 recovery. So this is a fundamental thing. What you want to do is you want to be able to learn to not have to move around so much. It's a difficult skill to learn by just holding a position and just waiting and just being turned So if the general play is moving towards this way, right? So you can see that it's in this position. You see how by pushing yourself up so much, you actually cut off your angles from any type of like offensive play. But if you stayed a little further back here, this opening here, you could have played this up, gone for potential double tap if you have the mechanics for it. It would have been a tricky angle, but it is doable. Again, these are just mechanical options. Are they high percentage options? Depends on how good of a player you are and how consistent you are. But I would say like this is something that you can actually like work on. This is something you can do is not overextend as second man. Remember, if you're first man, you're making rotations, that's one thing. But you see this guy's 0 boost, bro. There's nothing he can do to cover you. How is he going to be able to cover your back if you overextend here? Because remember, you're second man. It's your job to make sure that you're staying fluid with rotations. So you want to make sure you're not over pushing a second man, because by over pushing, you just don't have options. By staying back, you have options here. You could have gone, you know, fast aerial, boom, double tap, boom, like that. You could have even gone for a cross play just to create space so your teammate had time to rotate, just to buy your teammate time. You know, there was boost in the mid here, so you could play that back. You know, you have options to play with. You could even shadow here while your teammate's getting set up on defense. You could like cover for that and then cut off the 50-50 on that first touch of theirs. So those are options for you to consider. I respect that you go for the peak touches. I know that's your playstyle, and I love that, especially as a mouse and keyboard player. That's actually even more difficult to be able to pull off. Good attempt on the shot. I like that pressure. So just watch the rotations. Be careful about cutting off rotation here. You see how you're wasting your boost, and also you're pushing yourself into an awkward space by over flipping and overplaying. There is such thing as what we call overplaying. And it's not necessarily overplaying in the sense of like, oh, you're playing too many games. It's no, you're playing a position too deeply, and you need to just kind of calm it down a little bit. Just tone it down, just dial it back just a touch. It's not saying that you're doing a bad thing. It's that you're doing too much of a good thing, which inevitably becomes a bad thing. So just dial it down a little bit, and you'll find that as you balance your movement, like you like to play really fast. The thing is that you're not playing fast with control, not with finesse. You want to start learning on incorporating finesse into your speed. That only happens if you develop control. So try to work on this. This will help you kind of really work on your positioning. Good recovery here. Good try on the 50. Just try to have a little bit better vision here. Let's see here. Were you dodging a bump there? I couldn't tell. No, I think you probably heard him jumping or heard him close, so you probably jumped and panicked. That's what it sounded like to me. I understand why, though. That's awkward there. Just be careful about being extended as first man. You don't really have many recoveries, and there's not really much of a follow-up on the play, so just kind of be careful about that. Careful about turning. So this is a case where you want to be careful about turning upfield. You see how, just watch for the moment here. Watch this instant. I'm going to pause it. And so right here. There's zero play here. There's zero play here offensively. And the thing is that you defensively, you don't want to be turning upfield like this, because remember, the more you turn upfield, the longer it is going to take for you to recover into a position where you could turn backfield and downfield. And so you want to get yourself back into a position where you're facing your goal side, and that's going to put you into a position that's safer. Because if this guy plays this better, okay, yeah. So in this position, if you just simply went back, played for the potential like shot, if he's going down, even if you see separation, so think about separation, right? You see this, he's getting close to it. You see how behind the play and how awkward it is. If he played this better, he could have easily just scored this, and that would have been that, right? But if you played this better, you'd have been able to defend this, and you'd be in a position where you can actually cover this. So try to make yourself a little less awkward there, and you'll find that it's going to be a lot easier to make these defensive stops. By overplaying your offense and your rotations, you're putting yourself in more difficult positions. I like this boost grab here. Good attempt there on the flip into, okay, that's a nice shot. Well done. Small improvement is a little bit of separation here, just something to work on, is that front flip. If you can do a flip cancel with a side flip there, almost like I would say even more of a diagonal flip, if you do that slight minor adjustment. It's, again, this is just a nitpicky thing, but just something you could do to kind of like get a little bit better control or stay closer with the ball. But in this case, like, you still, the execution to set up the double tap and the idea behind it was really well done. Just like in general, not necessarily in this situation, but in general, when you're finding you're in this, you see how like going for the front flip like this kind of makes yourself a little awkward, and there's this recovery time. Think of this as like an air dribble recovery, right? You try to recover yourself back to the ball so you can play for the double tap angle. But imagine if you were further back, the separation, the opponents would have just potentially just gone for the save because all the separation you had there. So try to think about when you're separating. This play worked out and it was an amazing shot, don't get me wrong. But just be careful about these moments of separation. It can be dangerous there. Here, you want to be careful about going as right. If you make a call out and you say you're going as right, this honestly should have been a goal, realistically. And I say that in the sense that it starts really with the setup on the kick and the kickoff. You both went, and normally the rule of thumb, unless it's called out otherwise, it's typically going to be the left side or whoever's got the closest kickoff. So for example, if you have two people, like for example, like one here and one here, that person on the left is the one that goes. If you have somebody on the diagonal and you have one person here, the person on the diagonal in twos would go in this case, unless you make a call out and you're going for a fake or something different. But these are things that you want to just, unless you're, now granted, of course, I don't have access in replay to like the chat, so of course I can't see if you made call outs. I'm assuming you didn't in this situation, but just be careful of that. I like this offensive play. I would try to improve that by just slowing down a little bit. And there's a specific point I want you to slow down at. So this play is great. Slow down here. You don't have to play your speed too heavily. You have a small moment where you could have slowed down and just gotten control here. And then at this point, you have options because the second man is just getting into that position. You could have easily gone for a small bump play. You could have gone for like a backboard touch with the bump, so that way you can really just apply pressure on the opponents. There's no need to jump there. It's better just to stay grounded there. It could be a little bit awkward. Teammate goes for that. Even if you're staying on, that's fine. It's probably a little frustrating, but you know, unfortunately with solo queues, it's going to happen a lot. Teammates will typically go. Be careful about this pre-jump here. This pre-jump is something where if you're pre-jumping, you see how much separation from the wall there is. You kind of get back to it, but you see the way you contact it on the 50-50 is the top of your card. This is always going to be on the soft part of it, and if you're unlucky or if you're in worse of a position, especially in open space, not by the walls, that will actually kind of like jettison you kind of, and you'll just be kind of like just kind of fucked up recovery basically. So just try to be careful about that. I like the idea for the bump. Just be careful about overcommitting. I would like you to work on your recoveries. That's something I'm seeing that I would like you to work on. You're over pushing that play. That's kind of, I would say that moment, that's an autopilot moment. Try to think with intent about the play. Nice. I like the possession grab. I like that. I like that pressure. You don't have a play there. It's better to just not go. Go for the mid boost or go for their top right boost and just rotate out, right? And the reason I say that is because from teammates' perspective, I'm going to show you their perspective on the play. They're playing this back, but realistically, teammates playing way too deep at the second man. So there's something we call the 70-30 rule. And what it basically means is imagine like 100% of the play or 100% of the field. So from 0 to 100, imagine like 70% is about like right here, right? You're going to keep yourself in a position where you're close enough to be able to follow up on the play as second man, or what we call in twos last man. And you're going to allow yourself the discretion to use that 30% to get 100% for the goal, or to hold back, or maybe use a little bit, but not use too much to overcommit yourself, right? Teammate, they're doing the 50-50 rule, and this isn't really where you want to be. You do not want to be this far back as second man. It's essentially what we call playing too deep of a last man. It's not practical. because what could have been like a good backball read or a good play, especially if you made a little bit better of like a center pass here, that would have actually led to more of a play, because both of these guys are kind of like awkward, as you can see here. Like they're kind of like trying to figure out what they're doing. Technifer actually turns away from the play, and then Alonso is just getting in on pretty much 0 boost. So you have a small moment as last minute. Not you, but this guy has a small moment as last minute. If they were following the 70-30 rule, they actually could have made a potential play here. But normally as first man, I wouldn't necessarily try to go for this unless you know for sure you have an actual shot angle. I see as you're actually inviting me to a game, I'm going to finish this review first, and then we can play some games after. So let me go back into player view. Be careful about this flip. There's no need to be going for this. You're just committing yourself in the position. You see how they're like, you have no recovery here. There's no practical value of that rotational play. So just try to be careful about that. Here, honestly, I would have preferred if you just stay grounded. You're also flipping too much. You're flipping a lot in these plays, and remember, every time you flip, you commit. You commit yourself to a position, you commit yourself in recovery, you commit yourself from a path that you can't recover from until that flip is completed, and then you're back on the ground. You need to be careful about that. Don't mind the bump. There's not a lot of value from it, especially because you're not rotated back. A teammate goes for play. Your first priority should have just been rotate back. Sometimes it's nice to go for the doink there. You just used 100 boost on this entire play with the amount of arrow you used. It's so much easier if you want to go for a fast aerial. Get a decent boost, feather it, and then just don't have to arrow so much. Like, look how much arrow you used, and look how much boost you used. You used like 80, 90 boost. And then here, you used 100% of your boost. You don't have anything left in the tank. You're completely donezo bunzo at this point for boost. You don't have anything, right? You want to think about preserving boost, and that's what we call, it's a concept called boost management. That will help you there. Do not go for this unless you have an actual opening. Again, just be careful about autopiloting. It's very common that people autopilot. We all do it. That's also the reason why typically I don't grind solo queue a lot unless I'm actually like recording, because when I record, I'm usually playing with active intent, and I make it a point that I'm thinking about my plays and talking about my plays, and I'm in the flow of it. Whereas if I'm just playing a lot of solo queue, oftentimes I will just autopilot. It's something that we all do. You want to try to avoid autopiloting like this. Your position for one, the angle, you're not fairy peak, right? Fairy peak, yeah, he can hit the shot, but you're not fairy peak. Don't try to go for this. As I quote a little bit of Flakes there, this isn't an angle that you're going to be scoring from. So why commit yourself to the position? Bit awkward there. What you want to do is, ideally in a position like this, when you're recovering, I understand why you're kind of staying close. Just super quickly use free cam, whatever button you have to get back from, like, basically get yourself off ball cam to free cam, and just see where your teammate's at. And then just do that for a split second, just a little pop pop like that, and just so you can see where the general blue tag. You don't have to see their car, you just need to see the blue tag, just so you have a general rough idea peripherally of where they are. And then this will tell you whether or not you need to stay close, because this is awkward here. Your teammate was kind of staying back and just waiting. Presuming you're still on 0 boost here. Super awkward there. Teammate goes for it. That's fine. Teammate gets that boost. And again, like, you're both kind of in an awkward state, right? So that's something I would try to improve on. Careful here. You want to be careful, especially when don't try to hold on to this position for too long, especially if your teammate's not really in a good position. This is not ideal. Not ideal. If your teammate didn't get that beat, you probably could have gotten scored on just because you're busy jumping. You're overplaying a lot. You're playing way too, like, it's like very autopiloting is what I'm noticing, and that's something I would work on. Try to play with more intent, and the way you do that is you not just visually look and react to plays, right? Oh, hit ball, boom, go, right? Hit ball, boom, demo, boom. Like, you want to think a little less simplistically, and think more about the actual broad game itself, where you are in relation to the field. So if you're rotating back, think about like, okay, my teammate's getting in, right? Okay, 2 people on midfield. Okay, good to know. You know, then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go for the gap. I'm gonna grab these pads. So pad. Now I have 50 boost. Now I've got enough boost to play a good second man. But look at where you're at. You're all the way over here going for the corner boost, which I understand going for the big boost. A lot of us always get tempted by the big boost. Learn to go for pads. I would like you, personally, one thing. So there's 3 things I want you to work on, right? I'm gonna play this on for a little bit as I explain. So there's honestly, there's 3 things I would like you to work on. First one being is try to focus on playing with intent. Second one is your boost management. And 3, try not to overplay too much. Don't essentially overflip. Good attempt on the double tap. Actually, I would like to watch that back from your perspective. That was pretty close. You know, that deserves a close one in the chat. That is a close one. In the comment section, I would like you guys at this exact moment, I would like to say a close one. Because that was honestly a really good setup on the double tap. It's unfortunate you don't get it, especially on this little boost, because essentially the flip into this recovery was really nice. Ideally, you use a little less boost here. You see how you're full boosting? You don't even have to use too much boost. You're using also a lot of boost as you're coming off. It's still, if you could have saved like 5 more boost, you actually would have had enough of an angle to get yourself set up here. Here, it's a bit awkward. Nice reset. If you recovered a little bit better there, that actually could have been the shot. Teammates playing very safe as a second man, which I understand. That's a bad cut from teammate. You want to be careful about holding on to that. Again, the teammate's not aware you're there, or not aware you're holding on to that. These ranks are kind of funny. These are ranks where a lot of people will lack the vision to see what their opponent's intent is and what their own intent is, and they'll just see ball and they go ball chasing essentially. So again, you want to really work on your boost management. You want to play more with intent, and you want to try to flip less. Try not to overplay too much and put yourself in like an awkward position. And you'll start to find, as I get back to your character, you'll start to find positions become easier to work with. Ooh, it's a beautiful triple tap. Bang, bang. That's okay. See, you have the mechanics, man. I would work on these little elements of game sense and also just general recoveries and movement and just improving your overall efficiency. Like you've got the mechanics, but you're not efficient with how you play. If you develop your efficiency, if you really just work on that efficiency, you will start to become much more lethal as a player. Like you have the mechanics already there. You've already got a lot of those things. Like you have these things. I like this. Keep building on these things. I like that. Let's start building up your weaknesses and helping those weaknesses start to come up and catch up to your strengths, and you will become very, very difficult to play against. That being said, if you want me to replay review your games, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Speedy Man out.